Alright folks, this is knowledge video segment 1. I'm going to start with a very simple problem. Let us make a box and give it some dimensions. So on a convenient plane, on this vertical plane, I will sketch a rectangle, and just for the heck of it, let me put a circle here. And let me dimension these things. Dimension, this is the diameter. Let me switch this thing to radius. Dimension this edge. And dimension that edge. Exit. And let's pad it by, let's say, 2 inches. Okay. So we have a very simple part, and down here you see a toolbar which says knowledge. Now we have used knowledge in order to write formulas when we did some mechanisms, but let's ignore that aspect. Let me click on f of x. When you click on f of x and you select part, all the database that you have associated with this part would appear in this window. And let me close that again, cancel that. Notice that there are no dimensions here, but when you click on f of x and you select the part from here or from the tree, all the dimensions that are associated with this part are going to appear. For example, if I select this dimension, the name of it is length 8. You can see that, name of length 8, and the value of it is 3.981. Now obviously what I can do, I can change this here, see, length 8, type length, and let me change this thing to 5 and see what happens. Apply. Obviously this thing changes. If you select this dimension from the screen, okay, did I say apply? Good. Now for some reason this is stuck here, and I'm not sure. So let me say OK. Click on f of x again and select the part. Now if I select this dimension, length 9, the value of it is 6.5, and if I want I can change it from here. For example, I can make this thing 7. Apply. Now and OK. And I noticed that this it will not release the dimension here. Let's try it one more time. You click on the part. There is the padded. You can see that this is the padded length. Okay, padded length. I select it. This is the value 2, and I can change that, for example, to 1, and then apply. Obviously resizes. Okay, I see. Now let's select this radius. Sometimes it releases it, sometimes it doesn't. But when you do it on your computer, this will not happen. So you select this. Notice that it goes and picks the name associated with that particular dimension, which is some weird name, radius 7 of type radius. For example, I can change this thing to 1 and then say apply. And notice that it change it. Now, again, I don't like it, the fact that at least my version doesn't select this, but or I guess you can loop through these things. There's no problem. Okay, good. Now let's close this. Click on f of x again. Select on that. Now maybe this dimension, for example, which says 7, the value of it is 7, and the name of it is length 9. I don't want to call it length 9. Let's call it W. And then apply. Notice that the name changed. The name of that dimension from that length 9 changed to W. Let me select this guy. The name of this is length 8. Maybe I want to call this thing H. Apply. Okay, see it changed. Maybe this radius, I don't want to call it radius 7, maybe I want to call it R. So here I'm renaming it. It's just a matter of renaming. And finally, this is the padded length, right there. Actually, I'm not sure whether I'm picking the right one. There. First limit. Okay. Maybe I want to call this thing L. Apply. The nice thing about renaming some of these, if necessary, is that you can always go here and filter by renamed parameters. Now, it's just a matter of your renaming these things. I can change it from, for example, from here W, I can change it from W, I can change it to 9, and then apply, and of course resize it. Okay. All right. So I did this thing for a box. Okay. Now let's also do it for an assembly. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to close that. Actually, we'll do assembly later on, but there's a few things I want to do. So let's go here, click on f of x. Maybe I want to say that the length, click on that. Maybe I want to select the, maybe I want to look at the length, and the length is, let's see now, it's this padded length. Now let's try h. Maybe I want to make sure that this guy is always half of that. So what I can say is that, okay, h is equal to, add a formula, equal to w over 2. If I forget what the name of that other dimension is, there's two ways. I can select it from the tree, or I can say rename. See, rename, or I can select it from the tree. It actually takes the value of w, and then I say w over 2, and then okay. Now notice that this thing turned red because right now this is 9, the other one is 4.5, and we have to apply so that it updates. Maybe I want to say that the radius is always, let's say, a third of this value. So select R, add a formula, always equal to a third of that, W over 3. Now hopefully this will not cause a problem. Let's see, because apply, notice that when you select W over 3, you see that there's something wrong with the sketch. So if I double click on the sketch, I can see what happened. Okay, so I say close. For example, well, we can either do it from here, double click on it, more. I'm sorry, here what I meant was that select the f of x. I want to say maybe w over 5, and then we say okay, and then okay, and then exit, and now this thing changes it. So what we have learned here, at least in this segment, is that you can rename dimensions. All right, you can introduce equations either in terms of the original dimensions or in terms of the renamed dimensions. So don't get the impression that to introduce equations and you know, things like that, formulas, you have to rename. It's just that it made it easier for me to identify these things. All right. So this is the first segment for a part. The next segment is going to be for an assembly, and I'm going to do that next.